their first ever Commissioner's Cup championship, knocking off the Minnesota Lynx.
Ebony's the goal! Hey, let's go! Help him!
The Indiana Fever just stunned the WNBA, and the league tried to pretend it never happened. The Indiana Fever just pulled off one of the most jaw-dropping wins of the WNBA season, and the league acted like it never even happened. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark was in the locker room dropping the coldest line of the night, one savage sentence that shook the entire league. And just when things couldn't get any messier, Dave Portnoy jumped in and flamed the WNBA with a viral tweet. Oh, and if that wasn't enough? Mercury star Sada Sabali also dropped a truth bomb that sent shockwaves across the W. At this point, are we even surprised? Because in the WNBA, nothing is ever simple, clean, or drama-free. And today? We're spilling every drop of the tea. But first, if you think the WNBA has been playing favorites and it's finally time to expose the double standards, drop a "Stop the Sidelines" in the comments right now. Let's unpack the truth. Fever win the Commissioner's Cup, and the league goes silent. Wednesday night, the Indiana Fever lit up the court and won the Commissioner's Cup. And their post-game celebration? Electric. There's now a viral video from inside the Fever locker room where Caitlin Clark delivered 6 of the coldest words you'll hear this season. Everybody in the league is sick. 6 words. That's all it took. And the internet immediately knew, she understood the moment. That win wasn't just for Indiana, it was for every single fan who's been watching the WNBA pretend Caitlin Clark doesn't exist. Right after that clip exploded online, Dave Portnoy reshared it with his own fire take. Caitlin was hilarious all celebration long last night. But maybe the dumbest thing the WNBA does is paying the champs of the Commissioner's Cup more than the real champs. Insane. And honestly, he's not wrong. How does a mid-season tournament offer more prize money than the actual WNBA finals? Make it make sense. But then again, this is the WNBA we're talking about. Plot twists and backwards logic come standard. Media meltdown, ESPN, the WNBA, and a deleted video. Now here's where it gets shady. Instead of celebrating what was arguably one of the most exciting moments in the season, the WNBA went full ghost mode, like they were embarrassed that Indiana even showed up. Even ESPN fumbled the bag. They scheduled a YouTube video before the game had even ended, titled, "Lynx Dominate Fever to Win Commissioner's Cup." Yeah. You heard that right. Except, the Lynx didn't win. Indiana did. So what happened next? That video vanished real quick. Wiped like a bad tweet. But it gets worse. The media didn't just ignore Indiana's win, they flipped the script entirely. Suddenly, the new narrative wasn't that the Fever were smart, tough, or clutch. Nope. It became, Indiana was too physical. Apparently, Natasha Howard locking down on defense and Aaliyah Boston dominating the paint was too much for some people. Come on. Where was this same concern when Caitlin Clark was getting thrown to the floor every other game? Hip checks, elbows, full-on body slams, and the response? Shrugs. That's just how the league is. But now when Indiana pushes back, fights hard, and plays with fire, it's suddenly a problem? Double standards and moving goalposts. Let's call it what it is, the WNBA keeps moving the goalposts. When Indiana loses, they get dismissed. When they win, they get discredited. But you know who didn't care about the noise? Fever head coach Stephanie White. She saw the chatter, the injuries, the doubters, and said, "Fine. Let's give them a taste of their own medicine." So what did the Fever do? They locked down defensively, frustrated the Lynx, and flipped the game upside down with an 18-0 run that made Minnesota look like they forgot how to play basketball. Indiana took the cup. But instead of praise, the media came with complaints, saying the Fever were bullies, that the contact was too much, that mental games were being played. Apparently, physical play is only okay when it doesn't come from Indiana. And yet, even after all the whining, even the biggest haters had to admit it. This was probably the best defensive performance we've seen from Indiana all season. So why aren't we celebrating that? Why is it being spun into controversy? Sada Sabally blows the lid off the league. Just when you think the drama couldn't get thicker, Mercury forward and WNBA rep Sada Sabally entered the chat. While the league was hyping up its expansion plans, announcing new teams in Philly, Detroit, and Cleveland, Sabally didn't hold back. She dropped this line. "We got a proposal from the league, which was honestly a slap in the face. That wasn't just shade. That was a straight-up call-out. Because while the league throws confetti over future expansion, players are looking around wondering why the current problems are being ignored. WNBA rosters are still capped at just 12 players. Talented athletes like Ari McDonald are bouncing around on hardship contracts. Some can't find a roster spot at all. And even when they do, it's temporary, unstable, and unsustainable." Sabally kept it real. "Before we start handing out new franchises like party favors, maybe we should fix the teams we already have. Focus on the teams that continuously find excuses to not invest in their players." Breanna Stewart speaks out, "We're frustrated." Then, one of the league's most respected voices, Breanna Stewart, chimed in. The two-time WNBA champion and MVP revealed that the Players Union, WNBA, had received their first CBA proposal from the league, and she didn't sugarcoat it. "The players are absolutely frustrated." She went on. "Anytime you go back and forth, you're not expecting a yes right away, but you do expect a real conversation. And they kind of just ignored everything we said." Stewart made it clear, players are demanding more, better salaries, a bigger share of league revenue, and improved conditions. The Caitlin Clark effect and a fragile foundation. Let's not forget, everything we're seeing right now is happening on the back of Caitlin Clark. Because of her, the WNBA has experienced explosive growth. But here's the problem, it's built on a fragile foundation. The league is currently negotiating a new media rights deal. If the projections are correct, that deal could skyrocket WNBA revenue from $60 million to over $270 million per year. Let that sink in. From $60 million to $270 million. But even with that money on the horizon, players still don't have basic guarantees, like roster expansion, family planning support, or salaries that match the league's rising value. Take Kelsey Mitchell. She just signed a contract worth $249,000. Decent, sure. But when you consider the revenue the league is about to rake in, that salary looks more like a crumb than a check. Let's be honest, when the new deal kicks in, salaries could, and should, double. Maybe even triple. Some stars should be clearing $600,000 easy. But for now? It's promises, projections, and more waiting. Everybody in the league is sick. And that brings us back to Caitlin's locker room mic drop. Everybody in the league is sick. Sick of being undervalued. Sick of fake hype with no real investment. Sick of hearing, your time will come, while the league cashes in right now. If the WNBA doesn't get it together soon, this moment will either be the slap that wakes the league up, or the one that sends it into a spiral.